What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Last Word Sports Podcast. I'm your host tonight, Scott Gevurtz, joined by recurring guest Jacob Johnstone. Talk some NFL football. So, as most of you guys may know, on Thursday night, the NFL released the 2020 schedule. So we figured let's talk about our top 5 picks for the best matchups in the upcoming season. So, Jacob, let's start with you.
Well, as a Seattle fan, I got to get my Seattle bias out of the way real quick. So I want the first game between the Seattle and Niners. So I think that I want to say it's week 7, kind of middle-ish of the year. It's one of my later games. I think at this point, like around this time, I think both teams probably be fighting for the division lead and inevitably a playoff spot or a bye week. I think, honestly, of the two, I hate to say it, but the Niners are better. So it would be a big test for Seattle to see if they can compete with the Niners and those types of teams. And I honestly believe that the Niners at this point will probably be like not undefeated like they were last year. I think they'll probably be like 5-2, something like that. And they'll probably need a win here to like ensure the division lead and to make sure they probably get that bye week going into the NFC side of the playoff bracket. And honestly, with the playoffs being changed this year, 7 teams getting in, games like these will probably be a lot more meaningful this year.
Yeah.
So, Scott, what are your thoughts?
Unsurprisingly, I actually had a Seattle-San Francisco game on there too, but I chose week 17 instead of week 7.
Yeah, I considered that one, but I figured the first one would be a bit more bigger.
Similar stuff to what you said. I just think both teams are going to be really good. Obviously, when you have Russell Wilson, regardless of all the terrible offseason moves and draft decisions that you make as the Seahawks general manager, you're going to have a chance to make the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. I think Seahawks, probably going to go 10-6 or better.
Yeah.
San Francisco's roster is loaded with talent. I think this Week 17 matchup could be like it was last year. Really big game. Decides the fate of how the NFC playoff picture will kind of unfold and see who will get the 1 seed, because last year it was like, hey, winners a 1 seed, losers a 5 seed. So,
yeah, fucking Seattle gets the 5 seed. But I honestly think that wasn't really a bad thing. I think if they actually decided to play well against the Packers,
I think what hurt them was more just their injuries down the stretch.
Yeah, well, we lost like our starting safeties, our starting offensive line. That team could have made it to the divisional.
I mean, I think they would have beaten Green Bay.
I think they would have beaten the Eagles. Honestly, the 5 seed wasn't a bad spot for them, especially if they were healthy. They would have probably beaten the Packers and thrashed the Eagles. So,
all right. So, what's your second game, Jacob?
Well, let's see here. I'm gonna go for the Chiefs versus Buccaneers. It's like the Chiefs versus Pats of old, but now Brady's 43 and on Florida, Tampa Bay now. It's the Brady versus Mahomes rematch that we kind of all want to see after the overtime bullshit. It's 2 high-powered offenses. Buccaneers have like 2 top 15 receivers in the league. Their slot is always going to be productive. It's probably going to be Scotty Miller. I like Scotty Miller. He honestly could be the next Julian Edelman for Brady. They've got Rob Gronkowski back there. They've got O.J. Howard, who they probably will trade for something, and Cameron Brate. All 3 of those tight ends are starting caliber tight ends on a lot of teams. And it's just they're both Super Bowl contenders this year. Tampa Bay has been a contender in a long time, but both these teams are Super Bowl contenders. And they both have 2 great head coaches going head-to-head. Andy Reid, one of the greatest of all time, now finally with the Super Bowl. And Bruce Arians, who's been stiffed with a lot of bad teams, who managed to bring them 8-8. Like the Cardinals were horrible and still managed to get them 8-8. Arians and Reid are both great fat coaches, and it'll be fun to see them go head-to-head.
Yeah. So I picked another Tampa Bay game, but I chose Tampa Bay at New Orleans in Week 1. I think this is going to be a crazy game, probably a shootout, 2 stacked offenses. I think it'll be really fascinating to see how well Brady can mesh in this new system after 20 years in New England of the same terminology, same everything. I think Eli Manning said the other day in an interview, it's probably going to be a bumpy ride for Brady at the start of his Tampa Bay career. Especially with this,
it's already a Florida man.
And especially with this adjusted offseason with coronavirus and everything. Teams haven't really been able to meet and communicate as much as they would have liked to. So, Brady might not really – I mean, he's probably not going to be able to practice with, his receivers, get a real rapport with Mike Evans.
But the other thing, too, is that other teams won't be able to practice. So they'll all be on a level playing field. Really?
Yeah, well, but for example, the Saints, like Drew Brees and Michael Thomas already have a connection. Like they know but Tom Brady's never thrown to any of these guys in Tampa other than Gronk, who's, coming off of the season of partying, boozing, and WWE. So we don't know what he's going to be. But I think this is going to be a good game. And I think this, moving forward after week 1 can kind of decide like who gains the upper hand in the division.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of Bucks games really are like, is Gronk healthy, or is this team just an overhyped team that's going to blow up and go 8-8 because Brady and Gronk are old men who are, I wouldn't say Brady's broken, but Gronk's pretty broken. And it's their defense. Is that defense better than
I think people are sleeping on their defense, though. Like, Todd Bowles is a good coordinator. They're going to blitz you. They're going to get after you. They got Shaq Barrett.
Well, I agree. Like, their defensive line is okay. They've got JPP. They've got Vita Vea, who they drafted 3 years ago now.
Vea's pretty solid.
Yeah. But the secondary is what I worry about. I don't think they've got a guy older than 25 in that secondary who starts. Yeah. I think they drafted a secondary guy this year. It was Winfield.
They got Antoine Winfield. Yeah, I like that pick.
I like that pick too. But it's just like, will these guys develop? Will what's his name? Sean Murphy Bunting develop? Will Anton Winfield develop? Will they let Hargraves go, which means they're willing to part with their pick, like first round pick.
They spent first on him a couple years ago.
Well, he didn't want to play there anymore. And he's like, he's kind of a bust. But it's like, can that secondary go against guys like Drew Brees, go against guys like Patty Mahomes, and hold them to less than like 21 points a game? Because Brady isn't as youthful as he once was and can't really throw for 50 points a game. He can't carry a team anymore. He still needs a defense to help him. He needs a defense now. He can't.
The interesting thing too is to see if it's going to be a gradual decline or just a sharp cliff fall off.
No, because it's a gradual decline. If you look every year, Brady's regressed. It's a gradual decline. He's already. But
at the same time, like his weapons last year, were atrocious. Like by far worst surrounding cast.
Well, you could also say that for Carson Wentz, and everyone else when Carson Wentz shit.
But Carson Wentz's numbers were comparable to Tom Brady's, and the thing is, with Peyton Manning, for example. One year, he was I think he threw 35 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, and he dropped off a cliff.
Next year, he was literally 9 touchdowns to 17 picks. Yeah, bench for Brock Osweiler. So, there could just be, week 8, Tom Brady goes from a solid start to just fall off. So
yeah, this is true. This is true. Or I could start at the beginning of the year.
He's going to play for another 5 years.
Yeah. This isn't a quarterback like Shady McCoy 2 years ago. Came off a 1,200-yard season. I forget his receiving yards, but I think they're pretty high. With the Bills, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's probably got another year left in the tank." But some of the people are talking about him, he might fall off a cliff, which he did. Inevitably, my dumbass picked him in the 3rd round of my fantasy league because I was attached to him because he carried my team the year before. But Shady McCoy fell off a cliff, and no one saw it coming. This could be the same thing with Brady. Brady might just fall off a cliff. People are expecting him to fall, but I think they're expecting a gradual decline, not jump off the Grand Canyon type of cliff fall.
Jump off the Grand. Yeah. Okay, so what's your 3rd game?
Well, this is the game I went for the Saints instead. I went Saints versus Packers. I think that's a Week 4 game. They're both Super Bowl contenders, I think. It's kind of a big test for Rodgers, see where he is in a LaFleur system at this point, because this is probably, I think the Saints were probably their toughest opponent at that point. Have the Packers gotten better? They've gotten worse after falling last year. And it's the Saints versus Vikings wild card game. And last year, a sign that the Saints may not be what we think they are. They've blown it 3 times now in the playoffs where we think they're contenders. Are the Saints really just kind of that mirage that we think are really good, but they're never going to win?
Yeah, I think the Saints at some point you can't just say it's been the ref. It's 3 years in a row,
Yeah. I think the Saints are Super Bowl contenders, and I think they're going to come out with a fire this year to get Breeze another ring. But they're going to have to go against a lot of tough competition, and I don't know if they can handle that. I mean, they've lost to the Vikings twice because of mad defensive play. And they lost to the Rams for the same reason. They should have put the Rams away earlier. And the other thing, the Packers last year were not that good, despite their record.
Such a weak.
They got lucky. They got really lucky.
They got slaughtered by San Francisco twice. It wasn't an anomaly.
No. And even when they were beating those teams, what they would do is like kind of fall apart in the second half. They were a first half team all the way, and they just fall apart in the second half.
Like they beat teams like the Joe Flacco Broncos like 17-24. You
I
know, and
guarantee
you'd
you,
be
Drew
like,
Lock was the Broncos
okay,
quarterback at that time. The Broncos would have won that game. I think Broncos could have been a playoff team last year if Drew Lock was starting all year. No, and
I
not
mean,
on
they still
IR.
finished what, like 7-9, 8-8
Yeah,
for
Lock. Well, yeah, Lock was like went 5-1 as a starter.
something like that.
Lock was on IR for most of the year. And I picked him up in
All right.
fantasy league.
So my third game, I chose the Saints against a different NFC North opponent because, like we talked about, I think the Packers might regress a bit this year. I chose Minnesota at New Orleans in Week 16. This is a Christmas Day, Friday night game. So it's pretty wacky.
Okay, let's be real here. The Vikings are going to lose that. Let's be real here. The Vikings will lose any game that's even close to prime time. Kirk Cousins can't handle it.
Yeah, but what about the playoffs last year in New Orleans, man? Like these two teams have started to develop a real rivalry. I mean, 2 out of their past 3 playoff exits for the Saints.
They're developing a rivalry, Scott, because the Saints can't close out a playoff game.
Yeah, well, you said Kirk Cousins can't win primetime games. The Saints can't win playoff games against the Vikings either. So, I think it'll be exciting. Both of these teams should be good. I think both of us would predict them.
They will. The Vikings will score 10 points. The Saints will score 14 points.
Come on.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
I'm excited to see Justin Jefferson's impact. Dalvin Cook should have another big year. Like all the storylines you talked about with the Saints, they're a really good-looking team. Who knows? Maybe Jameis is the starter at this point in the year. There's a ton of stuff going into it. Both these teams should be really good. It's a revenge game for New Orleans, so they should be intense about it. And we can see what happens. It should have a pretty big implication on playoff seeding.
If the Saints start Jameis Winston ever, he'll throw like 6,000 yards and go 40 touchdowns for 40 picks. Let's be honest here. All right.
Fourth game.
I went Patriots versus Bills, their first game. I think that's also a Week 7 game, maybe a Week 8 game. It was one of my later ones. So this will be like the first, if I remember from looking at the Patriots' schedule, the Bills I think are like the first top 10 defense that Stidham will have to face. If I recall, things can change, but I don't remember exactly. But the Bills are a top tier defense. They drafted more defense this year with A.J. Epinesa. That defense is scary. But can Stidham handle that, going against those top tier defenses? Can he at least be serviceable to the point where he's not going to throw away the game, right? At this point, can Josh Allen lead his team to a division win? Will the Bills overthrow the Pats? Will the Pats fall to the number 2 in the division? Yada yada. And can Michelle and Singletary break out this year and help their young QBs out at the ground game? Both Michelle is very bad sophomore slump, and Singletary looks good, but do the Bills want to give Singletary all the carries of drafting Zach Moss?
Well, now that Frank Gore's gone too.
Yeah. They drafted Zach Moss, and they still have T.J. Yeldon. They haven't gotten rid of T.J. Yeldon yet, which makes no sense. Yeah, T.J. Yeldon's a good back. I like T.J. Yeldon, but it's I think you would have cut Yeldon by now. If you were going with Singletary and Moss, I don't know what's going on in that backfield. And are either of these teams actual true contenders? The Bills showed potential to be that last year, but they kind of blew it away. I think, who is it against? The Texans?
They blew a 16-0 lead.
Yeah, if you lose to the hack, Bill O'Brien, this is just disappointing.
They didn't lose to Bill O'Brien. They lost to Deshaun Watson, bro. He willed that back. He carried the Bill O'Brien's name is attached. Bill O'Brien did everything in his power to throw that game away, dog. I'm not even kidding. Go back and watch that. He was terrible.
If Bill O'Brien's name is attached to anything, you should win that game. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If Bill O'Brien's name is attached to a team, you win. That Texans team, I feel bad for everyone on that team, honestly. Until that Texans team will never reach its full potential until the hack is out there. Bill O'Brien officially is called, I'm not calling him by his name, it's the hack. That's all he is now, the hack. No, but
well, anyways,
yeah.
So I picked a New England game too, right? I picked New England at Kansas City in Week 4 because for me, I think Stidham, seeing him play is going to be pretty wacky, pretty exciting. But I think at the same time, this Patriots team goes as their defense goes. Just like it was last year with Tom Brady, I think they're going to have Stidham be more of a game manager, especially since he has no experience. He's young. They say he's raw. And the offensive weapons around him aren't exactly top-notch too. So I think they're going to rely on their defense, and this is, a matchup between two mastermind head coaches, best defensive coach versus best offensive coach. We'll see how good the Patriots defense really is, and if they can, run with the Chiefs. The last two times they played the Chiefs have been very close, the AFC Championship, and then last year in that game where there was a bad call at the end and the Patriots barely lost. So I think this should be an exciting matchup.
Well, you speak of their weapons. N'Keal Harry, you say he's a bust. I don't think we can call him a bust because he was out all year last year. He was out all year. You can't really call him that yet.
Yeah, he has potential.
He has potential. So he'll be the back. You'll have Julian Edelman. I want to say it's Jacoby.
Edelman's what, 35 now?
Yeah, but he's still solid.
Letting NFL drops.
Yeah, this is true. But Julian Edelman probably work a lot in the offseason to correct that, I bet. But I can't think who would their other weapons be? They drafted a tight end. They drafted a Devin Asiasi. I'm not even trying to pronounce that name. But I think they drafted a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, do they still have what's his name? Gunnar Olszewski.
Who?
He's a weapon. Gunnar Olszewski. Exactly. Who? That's what Jared Stidham's going to be thrown to, man.
Dude,
I mean, if Stidham throws 25 passes in his first game, 18 of them are going to James White. That's just the way it's going to
be. No. It'll be like if he throws 25 passes, like 15 will go to James White, like 5 or like 7 or 8 will go to Julian Edelman. The rest will probably go to Harry. And maybe like 1 or 2 will go to that other outside receiver, who I bet will be Jacoby Myers.
Who is, at this point, unnamed. So –
yeah, but I bet it's going to be Jacoby Myers. He flashed a little bit last year.
He's young. He's got potential.
I think he's a little slow, but I mean.
Well, for some reason the Patriots like slow players at this point. So let's go to –
Well, I mean, can you really say that? I mean, they brought Phil Dorsett in for a reason. Oh, they have Sanu.
That's gone now. I think Dorsett left.
It's Mohamed Sanu.
Did they get
Sanu's still there.
Funchess or someone?
No, Devin Funchess went to the Packers.
They got some receiver like that.
It's Sanu.
They got Demary Bird. I think.
Yeah, he played okay for the Cards last year.
Yeah, he's a whatever player. All right, so moving on to the fifth game.
Sanu. It is Mohamed Sanu.
Sanu's just another slack guy who was literally terrible last year when they traded for him. He can't run anymore, bro. Like, just because he shreds you in Madden, or no, wait, that's Taylor Gabriel. That's not even Mohamed Sanu.
Taylor Gabriel does shred.
Another Atlanta receiver from the past.
Any slot receiver named Taylor Gabriel or Cole Beasley will shred me.
Who knows? Maybe he traded for Sanu to play him at quarterback when Brady left. So he's got a cannon, bro. He can throw it further than Matt Ryan.
Julian Edelman's a former quarterback. You don't need that.
Yeah, they've got a ton of mediocre quarterbacks. But anyways,
receivers.
What's your fifth game?
Okay, I went week 1. Titans versus Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's be real here. This probably won't be the most exciting game. It's more like an intriguing game. There's a lot of question marks with both of these teams. Was Locke's flashes just flashes, or is he truly actually great? Will he be the Broncos quarterback of the future, or will Elway just throw him in the trash?
Elway spent a lot of money this offseason in the draft and in free agency trying to build around Locke. He thinks he's got his franchise guy. He's tired of Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian and all these guys. He's going all in with Locke. He spent all of his picks.
Well, yeah, because Drew Lock's the only one that actually looks halfway decent that he's had in the past 20 years. That's not named Peyton Manning. The next question is, can Henry and Tannehill handle the likes of Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Jarrell Casey, and Justin Simmons?
Yeah.
The Titans went on a tear, but maybe that was just luck. Maybe that was just one single tear. I think Henry is great, but is Tannehill really that quarterback that you wanted to pay 4 years, what was it, 80-something million for?
I mean, for the majority of his career, he was just an average guy.
Yeah, he was, but he got the job done. He was like Alex Smith. He won't win you a game, but he won't lose you a game.
Mm-hmm. So although when he came in, he was really good for that stretch.
Yeah, I agree. Next question is: will Jarrell Casey take revenge for being traded for only a 7th? That is, along with all the Jaguars trades, that was one of the most bullshit trades I've seen this year. And Darius Slay trade. There's a few trades that I did not understand.
And the Darius Slay trade, though, that was kind of just him and Matt Patricia. They're
I know.
It was not going to work out. Jarrell Casey, they could have gotten more.
I can name 3 teams right now that are stupid at trading. It's the Lions. Freaking,
Texans,
I'm gonna throw the Titans in there because
Texans,
the Jaguars,
Texans,
the
Texans,
Jaguars, the Lions,
Texans.
and the Texans. The Texans for one trade. The
Okay.
Texans are dumb. Okay, the next question I had, like, is AJ Brown actually good? Can AJ Brown build upon what he did last season, or return out like Corey Davis and flop? They got rid of the 5th-year option on Corey Davis. He's not being brought back, or if he is, it's gonna be like a short, like 2-year deal or something. Right? Will AJ Brown end up like Corey Davis, or is AJ Brown legit the number 1 wide receiver Tennessee needs? Are either of these teams actually legit? Are the Titans a legit playoff contender this year, or is that just a 1-year wonder? Are the Broncos going to be legit this year with an actual quarterback behind center and with I presume to be a 2-headed, maybe even 3-headed running attack with Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay, and Royce Freeman still there? Everyone forgets about Royce.
I think that they got to get rid of one of those backs, but yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing I had is the starting running back going to be Melvin Gordon or Philip Lindsay? I'm honestly leaning towards Melvin Gordon, not because of the contract, but because Philip Lindsay's contract is up this coming year, and I think they trade Lindsay. I think they get rid of him somehow.
I think so too. I think Lindsay's got more value than Freeman, and I think Freeman's game complements Melvin Gordon's better than Lindsay's does. And the thing about Lindsay is, he was the starting guy. He was the main back, and they went out and signed Melvin Gordon, who's been a Pro Bowler.
That never made sense for me because
if they believed in Lindsay, it didn't make sense.
Lindsay is an undrafted free agent, so he might not ask for that much. He might be less than Melvin Gordon than what you got him for. And he said, 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He can catch out the backfield. He fights for yards. The Melvin Gordon sign is like a top 5 worst signing.
They might be keeping him around because Melvin Gordon's always injured, but
but that doesn't make sense to me. You still have Royce Freeman. Royce Freeman's a quality back.
Yeah.
The Broncos, I don't understand why they brought in Melvin Gordon. I
didn't love the move, but
I don't understand it.
Anyway, so moving on to my final game.
Yeah.
I picked this one. I think these are probably the 2 best teams from last season, and so I'm really excited for this just because this is what the AFC Championship should have been. This is what it's probably going to be next year. This should be a crazy shootout.
The Titans
belong at Baltimore, Week 3, Monday Night Football, prime time, baby. You got Patty Mahomes slinging it against the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson. Lamar, I don't know, man. Patty's kind of beaten up on the Ravens the past couple times they played him. When Patty won his MVP, the Ravens had it in the bag, and then that 4th down play where he rolled out, threw that bomb to Tyreek, Ravens still remember that. Lamar's rookie year.
I think the Ravens are really good, but I think they might be a little bit overhyped. Personally,
they actually had the easiest schedule in the NFL last season, which helped them out. But
but I think they are legit. I think they are a legit team, but I think they are. It's like my opinion on Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow could be a good quarterback, but I think he's really overhyped. I think that's the Ravens for me. I think they are a legit team, but I think they're overhyped.
Should be a fun game to watch either way.
It will be.
All right, so I think that sums it all up. There's our 10 games.
Yep.
As always, guys, thank you for watching. I'm your host, Scott Gevurtz, here with Jacob Johnstone. This has been The Last Word.